Oh hi! Thanks for watching my video. So today I'm going to be talking about a few business ideas that you can do in The Sims 4. It's been a long time since I did a voiceover video. I want to say it's been at least a year, and usually back then when I did voiceover videos a lot more frequently I would script them, but this time I've decided to just wing it, see how we get on, so hopefully it's not too janky or rambly, but I just felt kind of inspired to make this video because The Sims 4 Business and Hobbies expansion pack feels like it was only a week ago that it came out, and yet here we are already with another brand new expansion pack. They just seem to keep on coming. I thought it would be a good idea to do a little bit of a, not really a recap, but just a few ideas. And I specifically wanted to do this with Business and Hobbies because I think this is one of those packs where when it was announced, I wasn't sure whether it would really be my thing. I knew I would have liked it if it was a hobbies focused pack. But if you think back to the trailer, it looked pretty underwhelming. There was only two hobbies, pottery and tattooing. So I wasn't really that hyped about it. I didn't think I would like it as much. But then again, when Horse Ranch was announced, I didn't think I would like that one either, and that one became one of my favourite packs. But I feel like Business and Hobbies, if you've been following my YouTube channel since that pack came out, you could probably tell that I've definitely got quite a few hours worth of gameplay out of that pack. Turns out I just love running small businesses. I think not only because there are ways that you can run businesses that you could never run in The Sims 4 before, but also because, although sadly it makes other packs redundant, some of the businesses that you could run previously run so much better with this pack, which I guess you could argue makes some of the other packs bit of a waste of money. Depends what kind of gameplay you value, I suppose. Like Get to Work, for instance, has the option to run a retail store, which I kind of feel like is sort of redundant now because running a retail store and making money from selling things is so much more profitable and so much more efficient using the Business and Hobbies pack. So I guess you could say that makes Get to Work redundant, but I suppose it depends on what other aspects of that pack you enjoy playing with, because I guess it does come with all the other active careers and aliens and stuff. But having put in quite a few hours playing Business and Hobbies and playing through every type of business I could imagine really, I just thought it would be nice to kind of round it off with a bit of a summary video. I get a top 10 I suppose, if you want to get more in touch with your entrepreneurial side in The Sims 4 and are just looking for some inspiration of different types of businesses you can run in The Sims 4, then maybe this video is for you. So we are going to go through 10 types of businesses you can run in The Sims 4 with The Sims 4 Business and Hobbies. So in no particular order, number 1, a laundromat. You can run a business where Sims can come and do their laundry. I mean, I don't need to explain that, you know how laundry works. But I actually learned something new when I ran a laundromat. I thought that Sims would just be paying for their time in the lot. So with Business and Hobbies, if you don't know, you can place a kiosk on your business lot and you can choose to charge customers either a one-time fee to enter the business, or you can charge them a lower hourly fee that they'll pay just for being there. So when I created a laundromat, I thought that that would be the only income I would make, would be just people paying to be in the laundromat. But actually, I was proved wrong. Sims did indeed pay to use the washing machine and the dryers. I don't know where the price point came from. I was surprised that they actually did that, but also happy about it, because if someone's going to use the laundry machine, they should be paying to use it. That's the whole point of a laundromat. But, you know, with The Sims 4, sometimes I feel like when it comes to what the game is actually capable of, a lot of imagination work is needed. So I was pretty happy to see that it actually functioned as it should have. And a laundromat is a pretty convenient and easy business to run. Obviously you've got the expenses of buying the appliances, but it's also so passive that as long as your Sim is home, they don't actually have to be in the laundromat at all. Sims are pretty self-sufficient. They don't need babysitting, you don't need to go and talk to customers. I suppose if you wanted to increase your ranks and get good customer experience, you could, if you wanted to focus on the dreamer schemer alignment situation. But it is a great way to get passive income. You can just create a laundromat, open up, and the money will just be rolling in, and then your Sim can just go about their business. Maybe they could write some books, double their income, I don't know. But it's a nice, easy business to run, is a laundromat. Number 2, which is a bit more full on, is running a child daycare. So you can run a daycare in The Sims 4 with the Business and Hobbies pack. It's not quite as challenging / in-depth as it was in The Sims 3. So with The Sims 3, for example, if you were going to be a babysitter, it was more of an active career and you could see the children and the toddlers' needs and stuff, so you could address it. With the daycare, there aren't really many high stakes. The daycare operates in a way that is kind of how I expected the laundromat to work. You only get paid for the Sims that are actually being there, which I guess is what you would expect, right? So you get an hourly fee for the children that turn up to your dedicated daycare lot. And while the children are there, you have to take care of them. But there aren't really any consequences if you don't, because unlike in The Sims 3, you can't see their needs. So it's a lot of guesswork, I suppose. But I did find it pretty fun when I ran a daycare. I just kind of had to use my initiative a little bit and do just the standard, like serving a group meal and having all of the children eat at once, change their diapers one after the other. So I had to kind of use my intuition to try and make sure they were happy. But you don't have to do that. If you want to send the kids home stinking and full of shit in their nappies, you're still gonna get paid. But nonetheless, I know that daycares are a thing that have been missed since The Sims 3, so it's nice that even though there are some limitations and it's not quite as hands-on, it's nice that you can still do it with this pack. All you have to do when you set up your business is go into your business settings, and you probably already know this, but for those of you that don't have business and hobbies, you can customize the age range or even the species that you want to have visit your lot. So you can select children, toddlers, infants, and then you have the option to choose whether you want them to be with a supervisor or not. So there's definitely the infrastructure there to run a daycare. Okay, next up, number 3, very similar to the previous one, but still a business option, is a pet daycare. Runs pretty much the same as you would a normal daycare. I guess it's handy if you're just playing as a sim who doesn't like children, or who loves dogs or cats or horses, which also can come and stay at your lot, by the way. You can have horses, but you don't have to have all animals. You could have just a doggy daycare if you wanted. This one I enjoyed, a bit more hands-off than a child daycare. You don't have to worry so much about needs. When I had pets come over, they just kind of entertained themselves, you know, played with the toys, played with each other. Required very little input from my sim, very nice, easy business to run. Plus it meant that my sim got to spend some time with some adorable pooches without having the responsibility of having lots of pets full time. Next up at number 4 is a bakery. So this is one of the ones where I mentioned it falls under, I guess, a bit of an odd category, because you could always run a bakery in The Sims 4 if you had The Sims 4 Get to Work using the retail system. That's where we got the cupcake machine. So it's always been possible to run a bakery in The Sims 4. However, I would argue, as someone who has also ran businesses without the Business and Hobbies pack, that running a retail lot is hard graft with very little payoff. When I ran a bakery in The Sims 4 before Business and Hobbies, I would be lucky if I got 5 sales in a day. With Get to Work, I guess you could argue it's more of a hands-on experience, because you do have more social options. You can build up selling to customers, you can talk customers into buying things. It's a bit more hands-on as like a sales negotiator, and you don't have access to those things with Business and Hobbies. With Business and Hobbies, all you can really do is talk about alignment things, you know, welcome customer, share business story, but nothing specifically about talking them into a sale or anything like that. However, I do think that the pros of using Business and Hobbies instead of Get to Work far outweigh the con of not being able to woo customers and convince them to buy things. Every time I've ran any kind of retail shop, including a bakery with Business and Hobbies, pretty much everything I have on display sells out that day. Sims are very spend happy if you run a small business, meaning that you make a lot more money running a bakery as a small business than you would if you ran it as a retail lot. Next up at number 5, a resort. Now, calling it a resort might be a bit of a stretch. This one, I suppose, does require a bit of imagination, but I ran a resort with the Business and Hobbies pack, and to be honest, I really wouldn't have wanted for much more. I had my sim start from scratch, and bit by bit, as we were gaining our stars to become a 5-star resort, we enhanced the resort. Every time we had guest accommodation, one of the activities was sleeping. We had tents, we had chalets, we had showers, everything they would need to fill their needs. plus a lot of things you would expect to see in a resort, like a gift shop, some bars, a swimming pool, water park. And by the end, it ended up being really profitable. Obviously, you can't force Sims to come and spend the night like they would with a vacation rental home. But it does still, maybe it's just me, but it did still feel like a resort. Sims would turn up and they would stay all day, and Sims were always present. I had my business open pretty much all the time. As soon as I had to close up, I reopened again because I wanted it to feel like a 24-hour resort. And it was never dead. Even at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, the place was still heaving. I had Sims doing yoga. In terms of the income, obviously, you're not going to make money from Sims paying for accommodation like they traditionally would if they were staying in a resort. But you do make money from the amenities and, of course, for Sims being there. So by the time my resort got to a 5-star resort, I'd unlocked the perks, which meant Sims were paying silly money every hour. We charged an hourly fee. I had enough stuff to do that Sims would spend hours there. We made money from having the food stands where Sims would order food. We also had a bar where Sims would order drinks, which you get paid for. I think the thing that made the most money, though, was I had like a little spa section in my resort with a massage table, and Sims would pay 700-800 simoleons a time for a massage. Overall, it was really profitable and actually a really fun business to run. So even though it's not quite traditional in a sense that Sims will not pay to actually stay overnight like you would expect them to, I think if you use a little bit of imagination, you can still run a successful resort in The Sims 4 and have it actually feel like you're running a resort. And seeing as I just touched on running a bar there in my last bit about resort, it's probably a good idea to talk about number 6, which is running a bar. Easier than ever to do now. Open up a small business, open a bar, happy days. You make money from the purchase of drinks. You don't even have to make the drinks yourself. You could just hire a mixologist. I've done it both ways. I found that I made more money just by having my sim work the bar themselves, obviously, because you have to pay out for a mixologist. But even with the 100 one-off simoleon fee to hire a mixologist, the money is still pretty good. Even more so if you charge them an hourly fee to use the bar. Bit cheeky, but Sims will do it. And the good thing about being able to customize the business is that it doesn't have to just be a bar. You can mix it up with other activities as well. For instance, when I opened a bar, I opened a fight club. Put a little fighting cage in there. So Sims would not only turn up to give me money for drinks, they would also pay for the privilege of having a scrap on my turf. But you could do anything. You can choose 5 different activities for each business, so you could have a bar that also just so happens to be a nail salon or a gym/bar. You could also run a bar that just so happens to be a pottery class as well. Maybe you could have a bar that does painting classes. The possibilities are endless. Number 6 is running a craft store. Well, I guess you could say crafting club or a crafting class. There are so many different craftable items in The Sims 4. There are so many. Knitting, cross-stitch, woodworking. So many options for craftable items. And I feel like the Business and Hobbies pack actually works pretty well with all of that because it kind of brings it all together. So that if you have a sim that specialises in a certain skill, for example knitting, they can run their own little shop where they can sell all of their knitted goods. They can sell them for 100% markup if they like, so they can make more money than they would if they just sold it straight from their inventory. But the real money with this type of business is by running classes. And I haven't actually mentioned the whiteboard yet, but the whiteboard comes with the pack. It basically means that if your sim has above a certain skill level, I think it's level 5, if you're above a certain skill level at a certain subject, you can start teaching classes, and Sims will pay a set amount per class. And it works a bit like an event. You have like little tasks that you have to tick off in order to get gold. So you can get bronze, silver, or gold, and the amount that you actually get paid will depend on how well you do. So if you offer a class that's 190 simoleons per attendee, chances are you'll probably get paid a bit more than that if you go above and beyond and achieve gold for your class. And the amount that you get paid also increases by your skill levels. So if you teach knitting when you're at knitting level 10, you're going to make substantially more money per attendee than you would if you were level 6, for example. So there's a good incentive as well to continue developing those skills to pass down to other Sims. And now we move on to number 8, running a kids' play centre. Different to a daycare. I feel like there still isn't really that much for kids to do in The Sims 4. I mean, there's stuff that they can do while they're on their own, like with the crafting table, the doll's house, the toys. But in terms of bringing children together, all they really have is the park. There aren't many dedicated spots that kids would actually enjoy hanging out at other than the park. So I decided to make a kids play centre in The Sims 4. It's basically a big warehouse that was just full of lots of different activities, lots of games the child Sims could play together. They had their little void critter challenges, they had climbing frames, arcade games, just a load of stuff to keep them entertained. And I'm pretty sure I had a section for the little ones as well, like a toddler play area and then a bigger kids play area too. That one was also pretty profitable, although I'll admit it takes a big investment to begin with because you have to actually buy all of this stuff and build it, so it might be a while before you get a return on investment. But as far as businesses go, this one was a pretty fun one to run. It wasn't too hands-on, but it also wasn't as hands-off as a lot of the other ones that I've mentioned. So for all of the children that turned up, I charged them every hour using the kiosk for being there. And we also made a bit of extra profit as well because I had a seating area for the adults, I guess the parents who needed to supervise, and had a little boba tea area as well so that they could order themselves refreshments and food. And funnily enough, that's actually where I made most of my money. Because while the kids were off playing, the adults were constantly ordering drinks, sandwiches, burgers. So it was kind of like a cross between a kids' play centre and a cafe. And it was a fun business to run, and I felt like it really gave back to the community. Number 9, art gallery. So we actually have dedicated display units now for paintings to make them sellable to the general public rather than having to sell them via inventory or Plopsy. And I've got to say, this is by far the most profitable business I've ever ran. I had my sim dedicate herself to the painting skill. She had mastered it by the time she'd opened a gallery. And because she used the digital sketch pad, which greatly increases the speed at which she did paintings, it was literally, I could queue up 5 paintings and she would get them done in about a sim hour and a half. Mark up the price 100%, put them all on display. The money we were making by running an art gallery was ridiculous. It wasn't a few hundred, it wasn't a few thousand, it was tens of thousands every single day. There was one day where I think we made 32 grand in that one day. Another day it was in the 60,000s. By far the most lucrative business you can run, in my opinion. Especially if you want it to be passive. It's not passive in a sense that obviously you have to produce the paintings, which is pretty easily done pretty quickly, like I said, using the sketch pad. But it's a lot of money to make considering you don't actually have to serve anyone, you don't have to work the bar, you don't have to serve food or anything. It's pretty hands-off. When I ran my art gallery, I literally just restocked the displays and then had my sim do her homework, work on a few projects in the back room, while customers would just come in, have a wander around and buy whichever paintings they liked the look of. Very profitable business. And finally, at number 10, running a salon. Okay, so this one is a bit of a reach and does require some imagination. I ran a salon recently. I was a bit disappointed by some aspects. So my business had the manicure and pedicure chairs, which I could make money from, and my employees could also make money for my business by doing Sims nails. I did also have the all-in-one styling station and the wardrobe stand that allows you to change the outfits of other Sims from Get Famous. Unfortunately, the downside is you can't actually make money from giving Sims an actual makeover by using either the styling station or the wardrobe. The only way you can make money is by doing manicures and pedicures, so I suppose really you can only run a nail salon. However, if you have the kind of save file that I have, which is one that you've played for a long time and so you have a load of townies walking around looking like they got dressed arse backwards and just came out of a bush, then it is handy to have the all-in-one styling station and the wardrobe block, because it means that when Sims do come in to visit, if you open a business, you're attracting Sims, you can do a little bit of neighbourhood admin. Give people some makeovers. They won't pay you for it, but you can at least make money from the pedicure and manicure chairs when you are open. So really, I guess the 10th business idea is running a nail salon, but I liked having the other items too, just so I could change the way Sims look, especially the randomly generated ones. And that is 10 business ideas to try out in The Sims 4 with the expansion pack, Business and Hobbies. Let me know what kind of businesses you've made with this pack. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, you know I love it when you do that. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.